Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Call. I am your host, Dylan Lang. This show is about the comic books that I picked up this week. Just show you the covers and some of the interior artwork and the creative teams to get you excited to go out to your local comic store on your own and pick up some of the stuff that you see here. Just enter a comic book store itself and just check it out because I truly believe comic stores are very cool. Their comics are for everyone. It's the newest thing now. The movies are very popular and stuff like that, so it's a highly recommended place to hang out because there's some really cool stuff there. Not only do they have comic books, but they also have baseball cards and T-shirts and gaming stuff and toys and stuff like that. So you get all kinds of great stuff if you find a really good comic book store. So we'll be talking about this week's comic books. The Small Press Expo takes place this week also, weekend in Washington, D.C. So somewhere around the Washington, D.C. area. I'm not sure it's actually Washington, D.C. itself or in the outskirts, but just type in SPX into your search engine. You should be able to find the website for that and check that out. Next weekend is Baltimore Comic-Con down here in Baltimore. That'll be the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. I don't have the guest list on me right now, but there's a lot of really good people coming. Most of the people that you see working on these books here are going to be there. So hold on a second. I'm still battling a cold, so just bear with me with this. But all right, there we go. Pause for a second. But other than that, it's time for us to stop chit-chatting and to start talking about the comics this week. The second week of the month is always the biggest, and so this is no difference. So bear with me. This could be a little while. So try to get this light out of my head. There we go. It's still roughly there. The first issue of this book was phenomenal. Was one I was looking for more than anything, and I was lucky to find it because it came out the day I was on vacation. The week I was on vacation, I was able to find a first print copy. But the second issue is now out. Mr. Miracle #2 is out this week. Mr. Miracle #1 was a fantastic story. Tom King, Mitch Gerads. It is one of the most bizarre books you're ever going to read, and you think you might know what's going on, but I think there's a lot more to it than you think it might be. So it's good to see them about what's going on. So definitely worthwhile. The whole issue appears to be nine boxes big. So Mr. Miracle #2 is definitely out today. It's written by Tom King with art by Mitch Gerads. The first issue is phenomenal, and Tom King is one of those writers that is surprising a lot of people about how good he really is. His Batman run is phenomenal, and now his Mr. Miracle is excellent as well. So his Vision run was really well also. It was a 12-issue miniseries, much like Mr. Miracle is. So if you like the Vision, you're probably going to like Mr. Miracle also. Pop-ups. This week is also Harley Quinn's 25th anniversary, so they released the Harley Quinn 25th anniversary special #1. Terry Dodson was one of the original artists on the series, so this is your anniversary special. It's got quite a cast of characters here. Each one, I think there's a whole bunch of different stories. One's written by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti. We also have some pinups for those who like that kind of thing. Here's a copy of the, and then the artwork was by, the artwork was by Dave Sharp, Paul Mounts and Dave Sharp, right? Yeah. So there's some of the artwork for that story, and then you have some pinups, and then you have another story. This one is written by, let me see if it lets me know who it's written by. Paul Dini and Chad Hardin did the story also. This is Harley Quinn's anniversary and her birthday, so we get a little bit of a story about that. More pinups. What else do we have? Then we have David Kibblesmith and David LaFuente did a story also. I think David LaFuente's sounds familiar. More pinups. Chip Zdarsky writes a Harley Quinn book with Joe Quinones as his penciler. So you see Chip Zdarsky do Harley Quinn. So all in all, it's basically it's a celebration of Harley Quinn. If you're a big fan of Harley Quinn, that's great. Check it out. It's out this week. Metal #2 is out this week as well. Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo continues the big Batman crossover. So the artwork looks nice. The story itself, I have some issues with. Jonathan Glapion is the inker. It's a weird story, and I guess maybe that's the whole point of it, I suppose. And I don't know. It's basically, it looks like Scott Snyder throwing everything under the sun. Baby Darkseid. So I don't even know what that is. I'll have to read that article to find out what it is. The Court of Owls make an appearance in here, and then we have the big bads of the series show up right here. So Metal #2 is out this week. As I said, it's going to go through Valentine's Day of next year, so you got a little bit of time. Now, when Metal first came out, I read off on this show that there's going to be crossovers and standalone one-shots and stuff like that that are going to connect with Metal. So the first crossover to Metal is out this week also. It's Teen Titans #12. So I don't know if 13 is going to be part of it. And the story continues in Nightwing, so it'll probably be I guess I'll have to pick up Nightwing again to keep up with it. But yeah, Teen Titans #12 has a Metal crossover. Gotta find the creative team on this one. I hate how they just like put it in like in the middle of the book sometimes, or not at all, it appears. Okay, that's weird. Okay, all I know is that Ben Piercy, Marco Andolfo, I think is the artist's name. So we got some nice artwork, and as I said, the story crosses over with Metal. So, oh, there they are. Benjamin Piercy, writer, Mirka Andolfo is the artist. So, so that's what's going on here. So, so if you want to read all of the Metal storyline, you're going to need to pick up Teen Titans #12 this week as well. And then just looking through here for Harley Quinn's anniversary, they've got this double page ad where it puts Harley Quinn in iconic Batman covers. Actually, I kind of like the Brian Bolland Killing Joke one. It's kind of a clever one, even though I hate the story. The artwork is really good. And then this alone is going to be fantastic. Harley and Ivy meet Betty and Veronica. So that should be a lot of fun. So if you want to keep following Metal and see what's going on with all that, Teen Titans #12 is out this week. Excuse me. Titans #15. We had Teen Titans. Now we have regular Titans #15. It's written by Dan Abnett with art by Brett Booth, inks by Norm Ratmud. Continuing the storyline there. So a lot of stuff going on. Good artwork and interesting stories. So that's Titans #15. Red Hood and the Outlaws #14 is a series I got caught up on during vacation. It is excellent. I'm surprised about how excellent it is. Scott Lobdell, Joe Bennett, and Sean Parsons. It is a fantastic series, and comes highly recommended. So if you don't have the issues, get caught up reading the trades. I think you'll really, really like the storyline. You've had the Red Hood, you have Bizarro, and you have Artemis. And it's a very interesting story. I think I'm a couple issues behind, but I'll get caught up eventually again. Just League America #14 also came out this week. I kind of like the cover. Is Ivan Reyes doing that work? Yeah, he is. Steve Orlando, writer. Ivan Reyes, pencils. Julio Ferreira, inks. Continuing the adventures in the Atomverse. I like Steve Orlando and I like Ivan Reyes' artwork, so I guess after he drew the first issue, he was drawing this one because we knew he'd get behind. So they gave him plenty of leeway to do it. So he's been drawing every issue of this storyline. So that's a good thing. And the series is definitely different. And it's worth a look. So Justice League number 14. Here's the other really big book of the week. Action number 987. Unfortunately, it's a bit disappointing with the big reveal. Ozymandias has been not Ozymandias, Mr. Oz. That's not a spoiler because maybe it is a spoiler, but Mr. Oz has been a character that's been haunting Superman since during the New 52, and it's all connected to the Watchmen storyline that Jeff Johns has been crafting and is going to make an appearance this fall in the Doomsday Clock. So Action was the one that got the right to show who Ozymandias is, and needless to say, the reveal is kind of disappointing, and it's fairly obvious. If you've been following Superman, you know who it is and what's going on. But that being said, this book is also getting a lot of negative press recently by our illustrious government. But real quick, it's written by Dan Jurgens with art by Victor Bogdanovich and inks by Jonathan Glapion, Jay Leasteen, and Bogdanovic. It's kind of a Art Adams-y type of style of artwork. But the main thing that's been making a big storyline, I think it was actually at the beginning. Let's see if I can find it. No, it's not here, so it must be further back. There's, our illustrious government is angry at angry at Superman for helping what they call illegal immigrants, protecting them from getting killed. I'm not making this up. You cannot make this up. This is the scene in question. There's articles. Just type it into Google. You'll find it. Government mad at, or GOP mad at Superman or something like that because he's appears to be helping illegal immigrants, which it doesn't state front and foremost that it's illegal immigrants. Instead, you get somebody who is mad that the foreigners are taking his job, so he's going to kill them, which is unfortunately the way of the world right now. So this page alone is getting a lot of issues in the news today. So you might want to check that out on your own. And then the reveal of Mr. Oz is anticlimactic, to be truth. We pretty much figured it out a while back. We were hoping that it wasn't going to be the case, but it was. But as I said, it's the first part of the storyline. We'll see what happens. But you might want to pick up that book anyway. It's Action number 987 because of that spread I just showed you about the GOP getting angry at Superman for protecting who they say are illegal immigrants, which is a ridiculous story, which I might even bring up again on my newest episode of Dylan Knows, which should be tomorrow, I think, at 9:30. I think that's what I decided to do. So I'm going to probably pull that out again. But we're moving on. Next up is Detective Comics number 964, continuing their storyline. James Tynion IV, Christopher Sabella are the writers. Art is by Carmen Carnero, and it focuses on Clayface and Anarchy. This is pretty much going to be leading into the new storyline coming up with the return of Tim Drake to the Detective Comics mythos. So, but this one gives you a chance to take a look at what's going on in Clayface's mind right now. So, good stuff. Good artwork. Good story. I'm going to see if it's... Yep, next week is the new, or in 2 weeks is the new storyline with Tim Drake returning. Wonder Woman number 30 is out today also, or out this week also. I think this storyline is getting wrapped up really, really soon. It's where's the writer and artist team on this one? It's written by Shea Fontana, with art by Dave Messina. Okay, I think it's actually the end of the storyline, and there's like a follow-up to the Dark Side War, written by James Robinson, I think, is the new team. So this is the last issue for Shea Fontana and Dave Messina. And is that different inker on there? Romulo Fajardo. Oh, he's the colorist. Okay. The colors are important too. But it's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is hugely popular because of the movie. The DVD comes out next week. So you might want to check that out as well. Newest issue of Wonder Woman came out this week. So you have the newest issue of Wonder Woman come out this week. You've got the Wonder Woman movie coming out next week on Blu-ray. And then you got a new issue of Wonder Woman coming out the week after that. So you're going to get your fill of Wonder Woman very quickly. So check it out. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps, number 28, continuing the New God storyline. This one's written by Robert Venditti with art by Rafa Sandoval and inks by Jordi Tarragona. It's a crossover with New Gods. And, you know, Hal Jordan is, usually the main focus. This issue appears to be the main focus, but you're also going to get some of the New Gods in it as well. And it is called the Green Lantern Corps, so the rest of the Corps probably don't show up in this issue, but they do show up eventually. So later on. Next up, we have Flash number 30, continuing their storyline. This one is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Neil Googe. I thought I heard Joshua Williamson was going to be leaving the Flash. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I think he might be leaving the Flash. I don't know if this is going to be his last story arc or not. So we'll see. But I thought I heard Joshua Williamson was leaving. And Neil Googe's artwork has always been fairly interesting to me. Supergirl number 13 is out this week. So remember, those who've been watching this show know I've been having trouble getting Supergirl, but I got it. She's got a kitty on the cover. That's why I got the issue. It's written by Steve Orlando with art by Robson Roca and inks by Daniel Henriquez. This continues from the annual. So issue 12 was the first part of the story. The annual was the second part, and this is the third part of the storyline as well. And if you like the Superwoman or Supergirl TV show, this might be up your alley. It is not the exact same as the TV show, but it's got a lot of various similarities that if you like the show, you'll probably like this as well. So is that Ozymandias? Yes, it is Mr. Oz. So Mr. Oz made an appearance in Supergirl also. Again, I keep saying I'm probably going to be dropping this series, but then you get a nice cover like this. Superwoman number 14. It's still an interesting premise with Lana Lang as a superhero. And it's written by Kevin Perkins with art by Steven Sequoia and Art Thibbert, who is one of my favorite inkers. So Supergirl crosses over into this one as well. I wish Phil Jimenez was still writing and drawing it, but can't always get what you want, as the Rolling Stones used to say. So I'm probably going to, I keep saying I'm probably going to drop this, but in the end, I'm probably going to keep going with it because there's just too much potential for the series. And we'll see what happens. That's it for the regular DC Comics. This one we have a David Finch Scooby Apocalypse cover, Scooby Apocalypse number 17. I keep buying this because of the creative team. You get Keith Giffen, James DeMatteis, Dale Eaglesham did the main artwork, and then there's a backup story. There's a couple of backup stories. I'll just show you these. Yeah, there. But it's a new take on the Scooby-Doo saga, where instead of them hunting down, people disguised as ghosts, they are in the zombie apocalypse, and it's a bit more of a serious story than you think it is. Apparently, Fred and Daphne did the deed, which we always thought they did. There's some more proof that they did. So yeah, that's it for that. And then there's a backup story written by Giffen DeMatteis with art by Rick Lenarde and Dan Green, which is another great Secret Squirrel. So that's great as well. So I'm going to keep getting Scooby-Doo Apocalypse because it's such a great premise, and the Hanna-Barbera DC updates have been fantastic. We're going to get new ones really soon. As you saw, Dastardly and Muttley was last week. We should be getting Snagglepuss really soon too, and the Jetsons as well. So you'll be seeing more of those. That's it for DC. Marvel, to make room for all the DCs I have only 3 Marvels. The first is Generations again. It's like every week there's new Generations, and every week I'm stupid enough to buy it, and I don't think I'm going to keep buying them anymore, and I say that, and then I buy it next week, and you see it again on the show. This case, though, my wife loves Captain Marvel, so I bought this mainly for her, and you get an appearance from the original Captain Marvel as well. It's written by Margaret Stohl with art by Brent Schoonover, and you get this Captain Marvel teaming up with her original Captain Marvel, as it were. And they don't remember each other, obviously, because they're not in the same time frame. And Captain Marvel, the male Captain Marvel, has always been an interesting character because he was one of the only characters that actually died due to a natural phenomenon, not some superhero thing. He died of cancer. So apparently, though, these Generations are a way to bring these characters back in and get rid of their female or minority characters, which is why I'm turning Marvel down quickly, faster than anything. But there's a few things that keep sticking with Amazing Spider-Man number 32. Amazing Spider-Man is the first comic I ever bought, or I ever started rather collected. My dad gave me his collection. I've been an on and off Spider-Man collector for the last 5 or so years. I just don't have it as much, but Spider-Man is the one that got me into comics. So when I can, I still buy the issues. This is a standalone issue written by Dan Slott with art by Greg Smallwood, and it focuses on Harry Osborn and his travails, stuff like that. So it's a one and done shot, and the next story arc is coming up as well. Do we have any? Peter Parker, Threat or Menace is the cover. Oh, that's Legacy. Oh, they're going to shift back to the original numbering, which makes Amazing Spider-Man number 789 is the next issue, because Marvel is stupid. Next up, we have Ben Reilly, The Scarlet Spider, written by Peter David, with art by Will Sliney. I originally bought this because I love Mark Bagley's artwork, and I love Peter David also, but Mark Bagley hasn't drawn the comic in a really long time, so I don't know if he's off the comic or not, but it is still Peter David writing it, and he's always tells good stories. So we'll see. Hopefully Bagley will come back soon, or maybe not. Looks like Bagley did the cover to the next one. He did the cover of this one too, and he didn't the art, so who knows? That's it for Marvel. Independence, Sheena number 1. Gotta love sexy, big-bosomed woman in tight, revealing costume. It's written by Marguerite Bennett and Christina Trujillo with art by Moritat and Demi Macaris. What's interesting is Dynamite has been doing these updates. They updated Vampirella. They updated Red Sonja. Now they're updating Sheena. And it looks good. She looks really good here. The J. Scott Campbell cover. But but it's an interesting character, and it's a new take on it. Also, they have a modern day Shadow now too. He's going to show up against with Batman again, and they also do James Bond. So they've got some bunch of different things going on. But Sheena is Sheena, and you get what you expect in a book like this. So we'll see. I mean, as I said, you expect one thing, and then the writers throw something else at you, particularly Vampirella. Vampirella was another one that had a tight, revealing female big bosom costume, and Paul Cornell changed it to Nothing Quite So Bad and turned it more into a horror thing. Red Sonja has sort of like the chainmail bikini type stuff. She's still wearing like revealing clothing, but now she's in current times and surviving that. She's a member of a motorcycle gang, which makes a lot of sense for Red Sonja. So we'll see what happens with Sheena. It's a good stuff. One of my new favorite independent books, Time and Vine #3. I've told you the story about me and Thomas Zoller. I was his first brand manager for Diamond. And it's a great series. The premise behind it is there's a special winery that if you drink a wine from a certain year, you time travel back to that year for a limited amount of time. You can't change history. The one good thing about it is even though the book is $4.99, there are no ads, and there's about 48 pages in here. So it is a big-ass story, and they do have an interesting story going on as well. The first 2 issues have been great, and I'm only expecting more great things for the 3rd issue. I'm wearing this shirt for a couple reasons. One, Baltimore Comic Con is next week, and Francisco Francavilla does a really good Spirit because he's also doing Will Eisner's The Spirit, The Corpse Makers, Chapter 4. I think it's a 5 or 6 part series. He's writing and drawing it and lettering it too. And it's his gorgeous artwork, and it's The Spirit. So you gotta love it, and that's who this is also, is The Spirit. So, oh great, it's a torture sequence. Just what I wanted to see. Oh well, but that's what you expect from a Spirit storyline, is him getting beaten up or tortured or whatever, because that's what The Spirit did. So, but good artwork. And not a bad story either, and you get The Spirit, which is really good. Francisco Francavilla as well. Mecha Cadet U. This has been in the back of Greg Pak's mind for the longest time. He's finally got a chance to do it, and it became so popular that they turned it from a miniseries to a regular series. Greg Pak is writing it and illustrated by Takeshi Miyakazawa, and it combines their love of big giant robots and good storytelling. So looks good, looks fun. Check it out. Mech Cadet U. It's almost like a contemporary or American version of a manga. So let's turn a name like that. Dread Gods #2. Ron Mars has been one of my favorite writers also, and he and Bart Sears and Tom Rainey and all of them have all joined together and created their own company that gets put through IDW. But Dread Gods is the first series featuring them. It's written by Ron Mars with art by Tom Rainey. That's just one story, one part. And then there's one story in here, and there's also multiple stories in this book. The next one is, where are you? Here you are. Or no, there isn't. There's only one this time, but it also gives you, it's only one, hold on. Yep, it looks like it's only one. Tom Rainey artwork, but it's their group, and so they're coming up with Bart Sears has his own series coming up soon called Giant Killer, and looks like there's some other stuff coming from them as well. So check it out. Dread Gods #2. Clue #4, we're getting close to the end of this. It's been an interesting series, to say the least, written by Paul Allure with art by Nelson Daniel. So you can basically make a comic book out of anything. You made it out of a board game, and it's fairly entertaining. The final issue will have multiple covers, and each story will have a different ending. Each cover will have a different ending, so that should be an interesting week. Finally, I forgot about this. A couple weeks ago, I got a brand new issue of Doctor Who, which was called The Lost Dimension. It had the shiny TARDIS on the cover. And it's basically like a crossover between all the Doctor Who's, one big storyline. But apparently this is a big weekly issue, or storyline. I forgot about the weekly part. So last week, I didn't know they released the second part of the story till I went into the comic book store this week, and I saw the third part. I was like, wait a second, this is kind of weird. And then I saw the third part. I was like, oh, so I went, and luckily they had a copy of the second part. So I'm all caught up. Part 2 of The Lost Dimension focuses on the Ninth Doctor. This was last week. You'll probably be able to find it on the shelves for last week's stuff. It's written by Cavan Scott, I think. Cavan Scott, Adriana Mello did the artwork. That's the regular creative team for the Ninth Doctor comic. But this one crosses over with the other Doctor Who's. As they all try to, solve a problem. Chris Bolson also did some artwork too. So that was last week. This week we had part 3, which is the 10th Doctor special. It's issue 3.9, whatever that means. But this one features written by Nick Abadiz, I guess. Art by Mariano Laclustra and Carlos Cabrera. Focuses on the 10th Doctor and Tennant and one of the other Doctors as well, which I think actually, in the scheme of things, when it comes to the actors, I think that they are father-in-law and son-in-law. So they figured to put them together in the comic would be cute. So there'll probably be another one next week. I think there is. Epic Adventure continues. Part 4 will be the 11th Doctor special. It's going to be on sale next week. Part 5 is Lost Dimension. Oh, it also comes out next week. Lost Dimension special number 1 comes out next week also. And then they take a break for a month or for a week. And then October 4th, they release 2, which is the 12th Doctor, the Lost Dimension special number 2. And then it ties up in Omega, the grand finale, on October 11th. So I'll keep up with that. We do get a week's break in there somewhere, but I will keep up that in mind next time. So that is your comic haul for this week. All these books came out this week with the exception of the 9th Doctor special, but you can probably find that on the shelf at your local comic book store if you were interested in Doctor Who. Pick that up as well. So for those on the Eastern Seaboard, Small Press Expo is this weekend. As I said, type in SPX into your search engine. You should be able to find the website and what the hours and the location and stuff like that. I know a bunch of people are heading down there this weekend, as they always do. They make a big thing about it. Next weekend is the Baltimore Comic-Con. I may or may not be there. We'll see how the weekend goes, how the week goes. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so there's that. So the weekend's upon us. Get yourself out to the comic book store, pick up any of the books that you saw on my comic haul. As I said, I just collect a small amount. That's a small amount, Dylan. Yeah, it's dependent upon how much actually came out last week. Yeah, that's a small amount. So to give you some scale, my comic store's news section is 2 big shelves, and then about 3 wire shelves, and then 1 all ages one. The 2 big shelves are Marvel and DC. The wire shelves are the independents, including IDW and Image. And then there's the kids one for the family-oriented one. And there's shelves which have books from the last 3 to 4 months up there that they're trying to get rid of at regular price till they put it into back issue bins. So good little comic store. Some of them might have sales. Mine ended their sales during the summer. They don't do any more sales. They'll probably do another one for the Halloween event. And they always do a pretty good one at Thanksgiving also, and one around Christmas. So you got those coming up. But until that point, I don't know if they're going to be doing anything else. The funny thing is, my comic book store is the one that runs the Baltimore Comic-Con. So they actually shut their doors on Thursday. So next Thursday, my comic book store is going to be closed until Monday, maybe Tuesday. I think it might be Tuesday. But so you can go get your books on Wednesday, but if you don't get your books from your local comic store, my local comic store on Wednesday, I gotta go to the con to get them. So either way, it's fine. So we'll see what happens. So you may or may not see a comic haul next week, depending on if I get my books on Wednesday. If I do, I can do it at any time. if I have to go to the con to get them, it might not be to the weekend. So we'll let you know. But that's it for me on the Comic Call. Come see my other show, Dylan Knows. It's my 4-year anniversary, actually physically today. September 15th, 2013 is when I started the show, my Dylan Knows show. And it's my 4-year anniversary today. I'll be celebrating that with my 208th episode. I'll be talking about the death of Harry Dean Stanton, which just dropped today. Other anniversaries going on this year. And I'll be talking about that stupid Action Comics uproar with the GOP about him protecting illegal aliens. So it's and also Bond farewell to Cassini. So we got a super packed show tomorrow at 9:30. That's the tentative time now. It may change, but as of now, that's the way I'm going to do it. So enjoy yourself. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.